I set my alarm for 6, but then I turned it off and slept in until 7. But that's alright, this is still one of the earliest starts I've had in a good long time. Well everyone, first view of Mount Greylock on the trail. I'll try and camp on its shoulder tonight. What an incredible shrine right there. Amazing. There's water at this place too. This is some of the best trail magic I've had all trail. A cat who tries to steal my food. And this. This town's adorable. Very, very New England town here. Damn. This is the best thing about New England so far. The lakes. I mean, look at that. Probably a beaver dam of some kind, this thing. Look at that view. And that is Mount Greylock over my shoulder. It's not even that big. I can easily climb that thing. Two really nice towns in one day. This is awesome. I'm just walking in with another hiker, Rolex. Life is good. I'm gonna have to hike straight through this town and out the other side though, I think, to reach my campsite on time. Okay, I just did a really long good chat with the people staying in this little campsite at the edge of this town. And there was lots of trail magic, so I got hot dogs and I got salad. So now I'm very substantially slowed down. I don't think I'll make it to the shelter, but I'll just try and get as far as I possibly can before it gets too dark to realistically walk. I love the way how Americans promote these small towns. In Australia, it's like, look, we have the world's biggest statue of this specific kind of orange. And then in the United States, we have, look, this rock has been touched by a sitting president. Oh, and there are American flags absolutely everywhere, of course. Look at that. That right there is the summit. That is a big fat porcupine. Dude, you'll have to leave the trail at some point. All right, there you go, there you go. You know, this forest for some reason reminds me very, very much of the plantation forests way down south in northern Georgia on the Pinhoti Trail, which kind of makes me realize that in 1,700 miles, the terrain and the trees haven't really changed that much. All right, it's 8 o'clock. I'm starting my Greylock Summit bid. All the other hikers around have just passed me as I was packing up my tent, so hopefully I'll see them again soon. I'm at elevation now, and it's cooled down a lot. It's way cooler than it was at the campsite. This is awesome. Okay, I was here 4 days ago on a day much less hot than this and much more populated with tourists. Right now there's only like one car. Good to see this place again. Welcome to the Green Mountains, basically. That's Vermont right there. The heat didn't really bother me in the hills, but now it's absolutely appalling. Again, Massachusetts. Best state for trail magic so far. I haven't actually smoked weed or had any edibles or anything on trail, so I don't think I will. Realistically, I'm just not really too interested in drugs of any kind for some reason. Just, I feel best when my body's really working at its full capacity nowadays. That's a 5-day resupply for 40 bucks. 1,600. 500 and something miles to Katahdin. Every single state has this final weird obstacle to make it harder for me to leave Looks like Massachusetts is no exception. Third last state in America. Kind of happy I'm finally here. Still a long, long way to go. So far, so good. I've walked for an hour in Vermont, and so far it hasn't had any of these ridiculous, really short rocky scrambles that basically all the states between Pennsylvania and Maryland had. I mean, Pennsylvania and Massachusetts had in abundance. It's been a very straightforward trail, a lot like the trails back down in the south, you know, Tennessee, Georgia. There are these little patches of mud, but you have these rocks on those patches to step on, and even the mud itself is pretty dry with this heat wave. So it's going pretty well. You know, it feels in retrospect like I finally entered the big hills, the serious climbs, for the first time in about 1,000 miles. Today, this afternoon, actually, coming over the last hill. You know, the big wildernessy hills, which are a bit harder to access. And it's a very good feeling. It sort of feels like, even more like, the last 1,000 miles have just been a connector. But I'm finally at the destination now. And there's a hut. So, it's 6 o'clock and I just managed to get out of the shelter, which has been the earliest time I've managed to get out of camp for a very, very long time. And I kind of needed to because of the heat. This is just about the only part of the day in which the heat's going to be anywhere near manageable. Time to get some water. At the next shelter now. Check this out. You'll be able to see it better than I can. Just walked a short distance with another rock climber, which was nice. So we had something to talk about there. Nice scenery here. The heat is really picking up. I think it's gonna be absolutely stinking hot, and I won't be able to hike anymore pretty soon. You know, there's this philosophical question that's become pretty internet famous recently, and it's, is Sisyphus happy? You know, the guy who's rolling the boulder all the way up that hill to have it roll back down again before reaching the top. And I can answer that Sisyphus must be about as happy as a thru hiker would be. It's kind of an odd mix. Sometimes I hate this, and then sometimes I look back on it and have fun with the memories. With the rolling hills and trees, this has been feeling a lot more like northern Tennessee lately, minus the views, unfortunately. Completely viewless summit. Maybe not such a viewless tower. Well, that's something. Lots and lots and lots of very identical rolling hills. And what looks like a thunderstorm coming, which is probably for the best. Constantly attacked by black flies, which is not very ideal. I might just have a snack and walk on. I don't know enough about bears to tell if this is something to do with them or not. Maybe. An hour before sunset. Done a marathon today. That's the shelter. So I actually had to delete my only means of navigation far out, because the app just kept on bugging out. And since the last update, it's run much slower, and it turned out that it was taking up 20 gigabytes of data from my phone, completely taking up the storage space, which was basically making my phone unusable. so I had to delete it. I'm gonna try and re-download it again once I have good signal. But yeah, that kind of sucks. As a fun little experiment, I decided to go 12 kilometers before I even think about re-downloading my navigation app. And just telling nature that I can survive without immediate forms of navigation. Here's my second mountain and my second tower in Vermont. I'm so happy this place doesn't have a car park on the top. So this is one of the more important views I have on the entire Appalachian Trail, because apparently this view right here inspired Benton MacKaye to create the Appalachian Trail. I don't really see his vision, to be honest. So out there is Vermont. That's some ski slope I'm not going to. Out there is Glastonbury Mountain. That was the mountain I came from. My favorite thing about this view is just looking out over the forest. This place would look amazing in winter. Probably wouldn't want to be up here in winter though. I haven't seen this many signs like this since Virginia. It really is getting more remote. This wilderness sign is kind of warranted. I just filled up at a very small creek, which was the first water source I could find in a while. A long trail maintaining crew has just been around, and look at how completely different the trail looks. It's just been wiped out. You know, it's really weird to be following a road right now. I don't think the AT has followed a dirt road through the forest like this in a very long time, probably since Pennsylvania. Green tunnel is extreme, but this is the first natural view I think I've had since Massachusetts. First good natural view at any rate. I mean, look at this. So I just looked at the weather forecast and I have some dramatic news. Seems like the next 5 days, like starting from 1 hour from now, is going to have tons and tons of thunderstorms and lots of rain. Really probably going to turn this entire trail into a mud pile, as if it isn't one already. I mean, it hasn't been too bad. Maybe it's gonna get worse. But anyway, yeah, lots of thunderstorms coming the next few days. I'm not very concerned. It's too warm for me to get hypothermia, and there's no way the thunder and lightning are really going to affect me under these trees. Yeah, it's quite the change. It's going to put an end to the heat wave that I've been experiencing. At least that's what the weather forecast is telling me. So yeah, it's going to be very different conditions, and I'm going to have to be prepared to spend a lot more of my break time in huts. The weather forecast is actually telling me that it has 95% chance of rain right now, which seems a bit overzealous, but you get the idea. It's coming. Well, this weather's getting dramatic, isn't it? God damn. You know, people complain about the rain and thunderstorms like this, but under the trees, the wind and the chance of lightning really wasn't a real problem. And it was just so magical walking through that. Like when it was warm, just kind of felt like a Ghibli-esque sort of thing, especially when the sun came out and it was still raining. Got some trail magic. This is the best cookie I've had in a very long time. Pretty grateful for this. So from my experience, I would call Georgia the Vermont of the South, because with both of these states, you have relatively easy trails. You're mostly in this kind of tunnel. You don't have too many views, but you have tons of shelters everywhere. Everything between here and Stratton Mountain has been shockingly easy. Really good trail, basically dead flat, very few hills. It's been good. People claim that the mud in Vermont is horrible, and they call the state Vermont, but it hasn't been bad at all, even in this rain. Like, you have those wooden walkways like that, or you just have rocks and roots everywhere you can step on. You never really need to take a step on bare ground, which can turn muddy, so it's not really much of an issue. You know, as long as you ignore all the ski lift stuff and the observation deck that's being taken apart, this is one of the best views I've had in this state so far. Like, this is awesome. I mean, that's crazy. Probably cannot see too much with that view in the sun, but that's just amazing. I haven't had a view like that in so long. It's crazy that I'm standing on a ski slope and the view is this insane. Kind of makes me want to try skiing. This is awesome. I feel blessed. Well, that's that for the day. I'm staying in this small hut they have, the ski warming hut down there. Seems like there's some people inside, a bit of trail magic.